Welcome back to another episode of Poor Man's Bonsai. Today I'm going to be taking these dollar store dinosaurs, these desperately in need of repotting succulents that you've seen in the succulent bonsai tour from a couple years ago in these pots, and I'm going to be seeing if I can make some dinosaur themed miniature landscapes, so stick around, we'll see what happens. So of course, right after I stopped filming, this guy took a big spill, and I broke off a few branches down here trying to catch it, save it, but yeah, I've basically neglected this thing pretty bad for the last several years, and it's been in the same pot. The soil is super dry right now. I need to, it really needs to be repotted as well as the other one that you'll see later in this video. So I thought, you know, instead of just repotting it in the same pot, I'll put it in this terracotta styled pot, and the second one that I'm going to do has another terracotta sort of pot. They don't look exactly the same, but I'm going to go with a similar theme for both the dinosaurs. Now the dinosaur here I got from a dollar store down the street. Looks like a mix between like an iguanodon and an allosaurus or something like that. It's definitely got some kind of like combined dino look going on, probably why it was $1, but yeah, I'm gonna name him Chia Dude, because that's what it looks like he's saying. Chia Dude. So I'll refer to him as that throughout this video, and yeah, so let's get started. Alright, so before I get this guy out, I wanted to show you how my wire ready to go in the pot. What I did was, I couldn't find a nail, so I used one of my wife's bobby pins. And if you have a pot that only has one hole, if you have two holes, you could stick the wire through either end, but if you only have one hole, then you could take your wire, wrap it around a nail, and the nail will hug up against the one hole of the pot while your two ends of the wire come out. So have a screen in place. First thing we're going to do is actually get a little bit of soil in this pot, which I'm kind of experimenting. I've been experimenting with some mixtures lately, so what I've been trying lately is it's actually sort of a mixture of sifted pine bark, pumice, and perlite. And yeah, I've been growing a few other succulents in this lately, and it seems to be working really well. So I'm going to first start by loading up the bottom. Alright, so let's get this guy out. Yeah, I'll have a link up at the top of the video to my succulent tour from a couple years ago, and you'll be able to see this thing has grown a lot. And the most amazing thing is it looks so cool. It looks like a tree. I've done nothing with this besides water it when I remember. No trimming. And it's just, the branch structure is great. It looks very tree-like, and you know, when I wanted to repot these, I wanted to make it themed of some sort. I thought about doing like an alien theme, extraterrestrial kind of theme, but I went to the dollar store and I couldn't find an alien, so I found a dinosaur, a couple dinosaurs. So I thought, okay, they look kind of prehistoric, so I'll do a dinosaur themed miniature landscape. So I'm gonna take my root hook here and just start going to town. This dirt is very dry, but succulents are very forgiving. But we'll be able to see kind of what we're dealing with as far as roots and the trunk go. I'll fast forward some of this so you don't have to watch me digging through all of this. Alright, wow, so this thing was super root bound. So kind of raked a lot of the roots, kind of loosened them all up, got a lot of the old dirt out. And so what I'm going to do now is put it in this pot. So we'll place it in there. And I'm not going to put it dead center because I actually want to leave a little bit of room for Chia Dude dinosaur to hang out underneath it. So I think a little bit raised up would be cool, like this. So I'm going to throw a little bit more soil in there and kind of mound it to one side, so that gives me something to raise it up with. Cool, I think that looks good. So I'm going to take my wire. You can see this tree is definitely going to need to be wired because it's just super top heavy right now. So wired in place. This is just cheap garden wire that I bought at a store down the street. It's coated in this plastic, so I think it's better than having exposed cheap metal wire that somebody told me in the comments on a different video that if you use a cheaper wire or different types of metal, it could cause issues to the plant. So so far I've utilized this for a couple years and I've never seen it degrade, like degrading and getting into the soil or anything, the plastic. So I think it's so far a pretty good alternative to copper soil. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is, well, that won't work. So all right, had to find a little shovel. So now I'm gonna start filling in the rest with soil. Kind of get these wires out of the way. In my experience, when I repot a succulent, the wire is really useful for a little while, but the roots grow so fast that it ends up being able to hold itself up fairly quickly. So what I'm going to do is try not to make noise, too much noise doing this, but what I'm going to do is kind of tap on the pot, and that'll get a lot of the soil in and around the roots. A little piece of bamboo. Normally I have a chopstick for this, but you can do this as well. And this really works it down in and around the roots. Yeah, I've been experimenting with soil because, I don't know, sometimes I think my soil maybe isn't well draining enough that I use, even though I'm in a very hot climate. So I'm trying something that's even coarser and using a lot of pumice and perlite and bigger pieces of bark to see if that helps my plants experience less root rot and things like that. So just add a little bit more. All right, so now I'm going to water it before I do anything else to further decorate this. All right, so we're back, we're all watered. And so now what I'm going to do is start figuring out how I want to place my dino. So I think it kind of worked out okay with that branch I was referring to that I accidentally broke off earlier, because it was coming out right here, and I think this is actually going to be the exact space I'm going to put my dinosaur. So I kind of look at the front of the tree as this right here anyway. I mean, that's probably the best looking front of the tree. So if I put that there, I think that would look good. But what I also have is this right here, which is sort of like a ground cover succulent that I bought at a nursery several months ago. Don't know what it's called, but these little balls fall off super easily. But I'm gonna just take some of these with the roots here and sort of plant them around the main tree. I'm going to do this for the other plant too, and this will help give that miniature look. Wow, kind of a mess. The idea with these is just that it kind of looks like bushes or shrubbery around our dinosaur in our miniature landscape. So create some space for that. Where I live, it's super hot. I've always struggled to keep moss alive on the surface of my plants. So I wanted to try this as an alternative. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think it'll do pretty well. So I'm doing fine for now. All these balls that have fallen out there, I'll just stick them back in the main pot. And then to kind of keep with the look, I don't love the look of the soil, so I actually I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of what is, it's like that oil spill stuff, that sort of clayish material. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle it around on top. I've seen a lot of people use this for bonsai soil. I have used it a lot in the past, but I've found that, especially if I'm not keeping up with repotting, that it, over time, in my experience at least, it kind of turns into real fine wet dirt or mud, and I think probably causes root rot, or doesn't allow roots to permeate like they should. So I'm just going to put it on the surface. Over time it will fall in between, but it's not going to be enough, I think, in this big pot to make a big difference. So I'm going to take some of that. I'm actually going to take some of this gravel that I have just in my driveway here and sprinkle it about. And this is all just to create the look of maybe what a dinosaur would be roaming around on back in prehistoric times, or Jurassic times, or Cretaceous times, or whatever. Or if they're still alive now, modern times. So, just kidding. Alright, so here we go. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Kind of take a peek around. Let me cover a little bit more of that up. Yeah, so in just a little while I'm able to go from a plant that desperately needed repotting to sort of this miniature dinosaur themed landscape. So this is the first one. I'm actually going to now work on the second one, and at the end I'll take some video and photos of them together so you can kind of see a themed dinosaur miniature landscape deal going on. Sorry. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so we're on to our second dino themed miniature landscape. This one's going to be featuring the Stegosaurus and this succulent. Now, as far as names, this succulent I have seen labeled at nurseries multiple names. Anything from Golem Jade, Hobbit Jade, Trumpet Jade, Hobbit Succulent, Golem Succulent. It's got a bunch of different names. It seems like everywhere I go, it's named something different. But I'll just refer to it as succulent for today. But yeah, this one is featured in my very first bonsai video, I believe, in this pot. So if you felt like going back and watching my original video, I talk about this. So this one's grown quite a bit too. If we thought that last one needed to be repotted, then we need to think again, because this one is like way worse. I mean, look, it's like it just pops right out of the pot. So super duper root bound, and some weird looking like eggs in there or something. But I'm gonna go to town on this. Not too much in town, but just sort of loosen this up a bit. I've already got my bobby pin wire combo going on in the pot, so that's ready to go. But this thing has been too good to me because I have greatly neglected it, and it's still doing fine. So I want to get those eggs out of there because I don't know what animal that is, or bug or critter. So just kind of break it up. But yeah, it's just stayed kicking. It's been leaning against a plumeria. That's how it's been staying upright, but I have not been good to this plant, so moving forward, I'm gonna try to take a lot better care of it. Oh, there's a silverfish. I wonder if that's what the eggs were. Silverfish are really cool looking bugs. Very alien looking. So, or very prehistoric looking, actually. So if he wants to stay around, he can. So this one, like the other one, I'm going to put off to the side so that I give it plenty of space for the dinosaur and its habitat. So this is going to be a little trickier to wire because the wire's coming out of the middle of the pot and I need to put this on the side, but I'll see how I can do this. Probably have to get creative here. it's not going to hold super well. So what I'm going to do is just fill it the rest of the way in with soil, and then I might have to place some rocks to help support this thing until the roots take over. Silverfish is still hanging around in here. Alright, so this is not going super well, but what I'm going to do is place some of my rocks that are going to help support this thing as the roots are growing out. So I think once I water too, that'll help compact the soil. So before we move on to landscaping the rest of it with the dinosaur, I'm going to water. So be right back. Alright, so we're all watered up, but the tree ended up needing a lot more support, so I removed some of the smaller rocks and I found this big one, and it actually matches the look of the biggest one that I used from earlier, so they kind of are supporting the tree for now. And I think after a couple of weeks the tree will be a lot better at supporting itself, but it really needs a lot of help right now with its roots. So before I even start, I'm going to actually clip this branch off here because it's kind of hanging right into the landscape area. So snip it there. Definitely going to repot that one, as well as the ones that broke off earlier on the other plant. So now we're looking at our plant. So I'm going to do the same thing we did last time and take our Stegosaurus. I think it'd be cool to place him probably right here in between the two rocks. And when I think about miniature landscapes, I think, you know, rocks often provide cover for animals, but also you might see a lot of shrubbery or bushes growing in and around the rocks. So I'm going to take our succulent stuff from the last plant and pull some of that out. And thinking I might plant one right here. And that way it looks like the Stegosaurus is eating from these plants. And plant another clump right here. And let's do one more small one in the front here. Kind of complete the look. Clear some of the soil away. Cool. Then we take our Stegosaurus. Sorry, the sun is a little bit... I'm at a bad time of the day for the sun. It's trying to peer into my video. But yeah, we place the Stegosaurus here. And then we got a cool landscape look where he's eating this shrubbery over here. Got some on either side of him here, and maybe he's just looking up, keeping an eye out for danger for the other guy from Chaw Dude Dinosaur. So I want to take the Stegosaurus off, take our oil spill ground cover. Again, we're going for a look. That's my only purpose for using this right here is just for the look of kind of a more desert looking ground cover. The perlite and the pumice in my soil mix just doesn't look super natural with the kind of the bright white look. So just using this for ground cover. Let's take some of the gravel from the driveway. Kind of put some at the base of each rock. Put some by the plants here. Put some back in and around here. All right, let's place our Stegosaurus. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is done. All right, let's get some footage of both completed miniature dinosaur landscapes.